Hi, everybody. It's Under Drummer here. I saw this the other day and I had to speak about it. I have to share this. It's all over YouTube. If you don't live under a rock, you've seen this somewhere already the last couple days. Um, I just can't believe how much this Brian Stelter gets schooled by John Coleman, the founder of the Weather Channel. It's brilliant. It's amazing. I love watching it. I've watched it 100 times, and I'm going to watch it 100 times more. And I had to post it on my channel to share with everybody. I've gone over this and analyzed it. You can do the same. I'll show it to you first, and then I'll speak about it afterwards. I'm not going to show the entire thing, just so you know. I'm only going to show the first 4 or 5 minutes, I believe. If you want to see it in its entirety, you can find it somewhere else on the web, I'm sure of it. But I just analyzed the first couple of minutes, and it's, like I said, it's just so fantastic to watch and so scary at the same time. So go ahead and watch it, and I'll talk about it after you watch the clip here.
But first, a story you will see nowhere else this morning. It's about one of the biggest crises we face, climate change, and a media war over that crisis. Climate deniers, people who believe climate change is not happening in any meaningful way, are sometimes painted in the media as fringe characters, as kooks. So this might shock you. A man who co-founded the Weather Channel thinks climate change is a hoax. His name is John Coleman. Before launching the Weather Channel in the early 1980s, he was the original weatherman on Good Morning America. And after launching the channel, he was also a local weatherman in New York, Chicago, and San Diego. Now he's retired, but his recent open letter saying that climate change is, quote, not valid, got a lot of attention and landed him in prime time on Fox News. So what did the Weather Channel do? It very publicly disavowed him. After all, for those who believe that the climate is changing and fast, this is a life and death matter. I've said before here on Reliable Sources that I don't think there are two equal sides to climate change. The scientific consensus is that it's real. The debate is over what to do about it. And the press has to be careful about creating this notion of sides. But Coleman's platform as a co-founder of a channel dedicated to weather is unique, and so is the channel's declaration that it believes climate change is happening. So this morning, both players are here, Coleman and the CEO of the Weather Channel, David Kenny. First, let me bring in John Coleman. He's in San Diego this morning. Thank you for being here.
It's nice to be on CNN. Hello to all your viewers. I resent you calling me a denier. That is a word meant to put me down. I'm a skeptic about climate change, and I want to make it darn clear, Mr. Kenny's not a scientist. I am. He's the CEO of the Weather Channel now. I was the founder of the Weather Channel, not the co-founder.
And I'm glad you did, because I am addicted to the Weather Channel. I watch a lot of cable news.
Now, hold on just a minute. I'm not done. And CNN has taken a very strong position on global warming that it is a consensus. Well, there is no consensus in science. Science isn't a vote. Science is about facts. And if you get down to the hard, cold facts, there's no question about it. Climate change is not happening. There is no significant man-made global warming now. There hasn't been any in the past, and there's no reason to expect any in the future. There's a whole lot of baloney, and yes, it has become a big political point of the Democratic Party and part of their platform, and I regret it's become political instead of scientific, but the science is on my side.
I don't think we're going to come to a conclusion about the topic right here. What I do wonder, though, is when you see...
because you wouldn't allow it to happen on CNN. But I'm happy that I got on the air and got a chance to talk to your viewers. Hello, everybody. There is no global warming.
What I do wonder is when you see the government, when you see NASA, when you see other institutions say that 97% of climate scientists agree, do you think they're making it up? What I don't understand is how you square that.
Well, that's a manipulated figure, and let me explain it to you. The government puts out about $2.5 billion directly for climate research every year. It only gives that money to scientists who will produce scientific results that support the global warming hypothesis of the Democrat Party position. So they don't have any choice. If you're going to get the money, you got to support their position. Therefore, 97% of the scientific reports published support global warming. Why? Because those are the ones the government pays for, and that's where the money is. It's real simple, but that doesn't mean it's right. That doesn't make it true. That only makes it bought and paid for. The money goes in circles.
I'm not a scientist, so I'm not going to try to refute you on the facts.
That's the truth.
I'll simply say that the vast majority...
Please stand back from this issue and let the two sides be on the air. There are 31,000 scientists who have signed a petition that says it is not valid, that my position is correct. And we'll keep battling, and we will prevail in time, but I don't know if we'll do it in my lifetime.
I do hope viewers are Googling the data you're sharing, because I do think it's skewed. I have to say that. I want to ask you about the weather.
No, it's not true, and I hope you will go to the websites that present the papers that show that none of this alarmism about ice and heat waves and droughts, none of it is happening.
Is the Weather Channel part of the conspiracy?
Well, the Weather Channel has bought into it. As I say it, they've drunk the Kool-Aid. But so is all the media. That's no big surprise.
Let me read to you what the channel said this week, because after you appeared on Fox...
Weather Channel statement.
Well, let me read it to the viewers then. After you appeared on Fox, they did put out this statement distancing themselves from you. They said, Mr. Coleman does have a place in our company's history, and we appreciate the contributions that he made more than 30 years ago. However, we want to be clear, John Coleman is no longer affiliated with our company. How did you feel to see them disavow you in that way?
Well, no problem. I mean, you know, that's all accurate. And the statement that's on their website, which they reissued this week, was written back in 2007. And that's a rather reasonable, warmist statement. It's not full of alarmism. It's not full of the sky is falling. It's a pretty reasonable statement.
So one of the things that is really the scariest to me is the way that Brian Stelter, the CNN anchor here, the way that CNN and Brian Stelter carefully phrase their comments. In the first few minutes before an opposing opinion can even be offered, Brian Stelter and CNN carefully lay out how you should believe and how they think you should think. For instance, the words climate denier made Coleman upset. He said, he came out and said, I resent that. Climate denier is just another leftist word creation. And then he comes out and says climate change is one of the biggest crises that we are facing today. So it's not even whether climate change exists or not. It does exist, and it's a huge crisis. And basically affirming that significant man-made climate change does exist. I mean, the amount of propaganda, that's just mind-boggling. We're not even gonna, the discussion of whether significant man-made climate change exists or not is not even on the table for you anymore.
I've said before here on Reliable Sources that I don't think there are two equal sides to climate change. The scientific consensus is that it's real. The debate is over what to do about it.
Stelter says climate deniers are often painted as kooks and fringe characters. Okay, my question is, painted by who? Who's doing the painting? Who's making these climate deniers, quote unquote, seem like kooks and crazy people and people who live on the fringes of society? And who's painting them that way? The answer is CNN, the lying leftist mainstream media, which CNN is at the forefront of, the fake news, which CNN is at the forefront of. They are the ones painting half of America as kooks. If you don't believe in significant man-made global warming and climate change, significant man-made climate change, if you don't believe in it, the mainstream media paints you as a kook. Yet article after article online says that at least half of all Americans are skeptical about man-made climate change. And a portion of those half don't believe that man-made climate change exists at all. They don't believe global warming exists at all. Yet Stelter and CNN say climate change deniers are often painted as kooks. Yes, by you, CNN, and the other lying mainstream medias. We're painted as kooks by you. So half of America are kooks? Is that what they're saying? Half of America are kooks and half of America are fringe characters. I don't know how you call half of the population of a country fringe characters. It doesn't make sense. It's simply more propaganda. Finally, Stelter sprinkles on some scare tactics for good measure by using the words life and death situation. This is a life and death situation. So A, we're not even going to discuss whether significant man-made climate change exists or not. It already does. It's a foregone conclusion. It already exists. And B, it's a life and death situation. It's just so scary. Oh, man. The truth is that even those who ardently believe in man-made climate change mostly agree that at the very worst, dramatic and possibly deadly changes are still at least a couple decades away. And at the most, 100 years away. How is this life and death immediate life and death situation. It's not. It's the Democratic platform to keep you scared, to make you full of fear. Then Stelter goes on to say some of the most hypocritic words ever come out of a news anchor's mouth, a fake news anchor's mouth. The press has to be careful. I laugh so hard here. The press has to be careful. And please tell us, Brian, what does the press have to be careful about? From one of the largest fake news corporations, we get a warning about the press needs to be careful about creating a notion of sides. There's no sides. There's no people against the belief of significant man-made climate change and people agreeing with that there is significant man-made climate change. No, there's not sides. No. See, there was no sides in World War II. There was no Axis or allies. There wasn't, Germany and Italy and Japan against Britain and France and America and Canada. No. There's no sides. There's just a bunch of people fighting. See, this is all more propaganda. There's no sides. There's no right or wrong. There's no good. There's no evil. There is no truth. There is no lie. There is only doublespeak. There is only propaganda. The amount of propaganda in this monologue before Coleman gets a chance to speak is astounding and sickening. This just makes, when Coleman speaks, that much sweeter. I mean, I stand up out of my chair almost every time and just cheer. This is so awesome when Coleman comes out. This old guy has more class in his little finger than CNN and Stelter and their entire corporation combined. He's old school. This gentleman, this John Coleman, is old school, and he comes out and speaks his mind and blows away this Brian Stelter and CNN. I love it. This is one of my favorite videos that I've ever seen. Anyways, Stelter says all this in his monologue before Coleman even gets a chance to speak. So Stelter has to come out and completely indoctrinate you first and feed your brain with all this nonsense and propaganda and try to brainwash and control you and put you in the right setting before you hear Coleman's rebuttal. One of the best parts is the first time Coleman comes out. First he says it's good to be on CNN. And the little nasty, disgusting smile that comes across Stelter's face is just scary. He gets this huge smile like, oh, CNN, we're great.
It's nice to be on CNN.
That is just like the smile of a snake. It's so bad. Anyways, Stelter likes Coleman, or really likes the Weather Channel. He says he's addicted to the Weather Channel, which I think is, for lack of a better word, a Freudian slip by Brian Stelter, considering how addicted liberals are to worry and fear. Which, by the way, goes against everything that Jesus talks about in the Bible and how we're supposed to live our lives. The left and Democrats want to keep you addicted to fear. They want to keep you afraid. If they can keep you afraid, they can control you. That's what's going on here. Is global warming is another way to keep you afraid. The Weather Channel is great at achieving this, so it's no wonder Stelter is addicted to it. Stelter's dumbfounded expression right here is simply priceless when Coleman says, I resent you. Look at that.
Hello to all your viewers. I resent you calling me a denier. That is a word meant to put me down. On CNN, hello to all your viewers. I resent you calling me a denier. That is a word meant to put me down. There's no question about it. Climate change is not happening. There is no significant man-made global warming now. There hasn't been any in the past, and there's no reason to expect any in the future. There's a whole lot of baloney, and yes, it has become a big political point of the Democratic Party and part of their platform, and I regret it's become political instead of scientific, but the science is on my side.
The term "a whole lot of baloney" is just fantastic. It's old school. I love it. We need to bring it back. I'm going to start saying that from now on. This is a whole lot of baloney. And he says, the science is on my side. I love it.
But the science is on my side.
I don't think we're going to come to a conclusion about the topic right here. What I do wonder,
I know
though, is
we're
when
not,
you
because
see
you wouldn't allow it to happen on CNN. But I'm happy that I got on the
we've
air
been
and got a
talking here for
chance to
several
talk
minutes.
to your viewers. Hello, everybody.
What
There
I do-
is no global warming.
Again, he shuts Stelter down right here. Of course we're not going to come to a conclusion on the air because you would not allow me to say that on CNN. Therefore, Stelter is trying to control the conversation the whole time. Stelter gets to talk almost 2 minutes before Coleman comes out, and then while Coleman is talking, Stelter can't shut the f up and let him finish. He keeps trying to control the conversation, steer the conversation to where he wants it to go. And then Coleman comes out and says, I'm happy I got on the air. I'm happy I'm speaking to your viewers. He says, hello, everybody. Climate change is not real. Global warming does not exist. Hello, everybody. It's a farce. It's baloney. That is one of the greatest clips I have ever seen.
But the science is on my side.
I don't think we're going to come to a conclusion about the topic right here. What I do wonder,
I know
though, is
we're
when
not,
you
because
see
you wouldn't allow it to happen on CNN. But I'm happy that I got on the
we've
air
been
and got a
talking here for
chance to
several
talk
minutes.
to your viewers. Hello, everybody. There is no global warming. Hello, everybody. There is no global warming. Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. Hello. There is no global warming. Everybody.